Okay, so this is Google Classroom set up for Ouachita School District, and whoever else wants to use it, welcome to use it as well. So I'm Heather Fulmer, and we are going to be working on setting up our teacher version Google Classroom. So I'm going to start with our Google Chrome icon down here, and probably, yeah, so first things first is I want you to go ahead and make sure that you're signed in to your school account. So this is my personal, my kids have all their accounts on here too. So this is my school account. I always use the little, we called it a waffle during our PD day that we had. We'll click on that and that's our icons, and then I'm going to go right on to Google Classroom. So you can use Google Classroom on the website, you can use it on what we call a waffle, whatever, on our apps and stuff, but either way is fine. So when you get to Google Classroom, number one, just make sure you're signed in to your school account, and if not, make sure you switch over, because once you get it all set up and started and it's not in the school account, the students cannot log on to it and see your classes, and they're not going to find you. You're not going to be able to access their stuff, so just make sure that from the get-go. Okay, this page is the one I've already set up. So I teach family consumer science at the high school. I have class periods. My conference is first period, so I started with second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. That's how I like to set it up. When we had our PD, we talked about putting the dates and stuff on there. So I put on the end of this, it's hard to see in here, but it says 2021 school year on the end of it. And some of them even say fall and spring, just so I know I keep myself in order when I teach whatever the class is. So some are year classes, some are semester courses. But if you are elementary or you just have one group of kids, you can divide it up and call it math 2021, reading 2021, science 2021, and whatever your grade level is. But we're going to practice on making a class. So if you don't have any classes, that's okay. We're going to go up here to create or join a class. So this is going to be kind of a fake account, and we're going to make a pretend class. So we're going to create a class right here, and we'll call it 2021 practice class, just for easy. Okay, so you have to have your class name in here. The section, the subject, and the room number, like for instance, I think I'm 305. I don't actually have a class number outside my door, but I think it's 305. I'm in my own little building. But anyway, so put that in there. If you want to go through that, you can. If not, that's okay too. But the more specific you can make it, the better off it's going to be, because like for me, for instance, I've been teaching many years now, and I like some of the assignments and some of the coursework that I've made. And so if I label it 2021 or whatever the course, school year is for that course, I can go back and pull it. Some years are better than others. And so I might like the way it was 2 years ago, go back and change it to that. And I'll pull some of those old assignments out and I'll archive them, which I'll show you how to do that later on. But anyway, just being able to label it as, the more detail, the better. So when you want to go back and find it, you can, exactly what it is that you're looking for. We're going to create this class just like this. And we're creating a class. There we go. All right. So the number one thing, what we did for our school district is I sent out a Google Doc and I put K through 12th grade on it. The teachers were on the Google Doc and we all had access to it. And so when I emailed it out for Ouachita School District here in Donaldson, Arkansas, anyway, we are sharing a Google Doc. So if you're not in the school district and you're watching this, then that might be something you want to do, because we always have students that have a younger or older sibling in high school or elementary. One of them gets on their coursework and the other ones, might have missed that day or they didn't get it. So I can go in, say I teach the 8th grader who has a 3rd grade brother, and say, okay, no worries for the parent. Here's the Google code, get them logged in, set up and everything. So the older kids are able to help the younger kids, which that's really nice. And also just district-wide, we have this document of all the course codes on there labeled with the teacher and what class it is. So It's really helpful. If a student moves in, the secretary has access to this document, so it's super easy to pull up and say, okay, here's your classroom, teachers or whatever. And if we are doing, virtual online instruction because of the virus, then they can just call the school. Anybody has access to it, the principal, the secretary, whoever, if they transfer or whatever might happen. And here it is, super easy. Instead of having to go and find and track the teacher down and track that certain classroom and track all your stuff, it's all on one document. So the only people who are going to see this document, obviously are going to be just the school teachers, secretaries, and people who work there, but it's still just an easier way to access these classes. And we talked about putting it on the school website. I usually put all my my class codes on one document and put it up in my classroom. I put them on the board, and they're even in the student folders when I had them last year. And I have not had not one student sign in and do extra work for a class they were not in in the first place. So they're not going to, probably not going to sign in and do extra work when they don't have to. So they just sign in for what they need and what class it is. So whenever like for instance, say the first day of school, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to have it on the board. Each class that comes in, I click this, I make it the size of, on my projector, my screen. It's this big, it's huge on the board. I freeze my screen. I put it up here as a class. We get the laptops out. We go ahead, we log in. We are added to the class. I can see them add as they come in and check them off my roster to make sure that I have every student added to the class. And then at home, if they need it, I can email it out. I can call or text parents or, whatever it may be, and make sure they have this, or send it home, via email or even a letter if we have to do a paper copy of it. But either way, it just makes it easier on the teacher end of it. So you're not having to add each student through their email to invite them into a class one by one. I have 130-ish students, and so that's a lot. This way, they're there on the very first day I do this, and the large majority, it's already taken care of on their own. So there's that. But if you are Ouachita School District, just make sure that you put your class, has your teacher name, your class, and your class code for each class that you're going to be adding. That way we have it on our master list. So for Ouachita School District, on our PD day, we talked about turning off the stream. So for our school district, this is what we were told to do. And I know it does kind of differ school to school, but our administration at the high school, we're turning it off simply because at the high school, our precious angels sometimes will comment inappropriate things on their Google Class streams. So we're going to go up to, let me go back and just point to it again, this little gear right here. And this is also where you can change your class details and stuff. If you scroll down, you have your general area. So again, your code is there. You can reset your code if you do, or disable it. But if you do, at Ouachita, just make sure whatever your new code is, if it is reset for whatever reason, that you change it on that master Google Docs, so we have that new code. Okay, so for Ouachita, we're going to turn off where it's just the stream is only teachers can post. If we have to post anything at all, only teachers, no comments, no students. We had a lot of problems with students who would try to turn their work in via stream, and on the classwork section, they actually have the turn in button to get the grade for it. So Stream does not have the grading system or anything attached to it. It's just kind of like a pop-up little message. It does get out of order really easy. It was too confusing and just kind of all over the place for us. So we're just not doing that at all. Classwork on the Stream, I'm hiding mine, and I think we all did this that one day. But if you need to go back and make new classes and just need this video as a refresher to go back and make sure that it's done right, here it is. So we're turning off and hiding notifications and classwork from the Stream simply because, again, they try to turn their homework in on it, and either people are copying it or it's not going to get graded. I would lose things on the Stream, like somebody would comment way down somewhere, and I'm like, I didn't see that, So there's a Guardian Summaries, which their parents can put in their parent email. We talked about this too, I have had students who said it was their parent and it was an account that they had made, so they received the parent email. So when I emailed parents from the Google Classroom side of it, I was actually emailing the students. But I use my hack anyway, what's in our gradebook system, as my point of contact for the parents, and double check that. So I really don't use my Guardian accounts on here as much, which that's fine. I send it out. I do let the students link it to their calendars and stuff, which if it is the correct parent account, it will sync to their phone calendars as well. So they will be able to see the assignments when they're due and when they're coming up, so they can remind their students at home, which is really nice. But again, I've only had it happen one time where a student created a fake parent email, but I guess it can happen, which I don't know if that benefits any. The student gets it, the notifications twice, so maybe that is good for them. I don't know. So there's grade categories here at the bottom if you want to put in test scores, homework scores, whatever. Our district was told not to necessarily, we don't have to use Google grading, classroom grading if we don't want to. I don't, simply because I put the grades in here and then I have to turn around and put it into our school system. So I just put everything into the school system and have my parents and students check there first. I don't always attach a point value to the assignment, just again, because it'll just say ungraded, but I check it and I'm like, hey, thanks, got this, tag a little message with it, send it back to the student. Yes, I got it. It's in your hack. It's in your, student account, your grade book online through the school and our state department. So I don't do this. I know some teachers did like this and it was kind of a double check system, but I do mine on paper and then I add it into my school grade book there. So I don't personally use Google grading that much. Also, because whenever our special ed department goes and looks into our school system, and this is really important that I really didn't think about, was they can't see my Google Classroom because they're not a student, they're not a teacher in it. And if you start adding in your special ed teachers to your classroom, which is fine, you can add teachers and administrators to it as well, but that's so much more work on them to go back and track down an assignment, which makes sense to me, and whatever I put on here is in my head, that makes sense to me, but it doesn't necessarily make sense to them, and they're not exactly sure what to look for or how I might label it. Versus if they go to the grade book, then the grade book, through our school system and our school computers would have all that information, and that's what goes to the State Department. And so our administration has access to it, our special education has access to it, which we do as well. We can see other teachers. So putting it in Google is okay, but it does limit who can see it and who has access to that grade to know what the student made on it and stuff. So I just think it's easier to just go ahead and skip it, and I'll just give an ungraded assignment, tag it back to them, hey, thanks, I got this, going in gradebook now, or something like that, and just do a overall kind of note with it when I send it back. Anyway, so that's just me. And you can tell it how to grade. So total points, no overall grade, total points, or weighted by category. I think we decided on total points, I believe. And like I said, I don't use this. If you do use it, I would talk to your administrator just to see what they want you to do. But again, I don't use Google grading very much, so that's me. So we're going to save our settings anyway on here. So when the students do have an assignment, always make sure you go to classwork, create that assignment, and I'm going to go through in a little bit and show you how to link it, but it'll be on a different video. I'm going to do it from the student version of it. So I'm going to use my kids and make them a little account on here so you can see the teacher side and the student side. So this is how we're setting it up. So when we create, we'll create it, just like it says, an assignment, a quiz, a question, material, or reuse a post. So for us, we're making topics, and each topic will be a week. So we are starting school here in Arkansas on the 24th. As of right now, we're supposed to start on the 24th, which is a Monday. So I'm going to put August 24th, and then say, well, I'm assuming we'll get through the whole week. Hopefully we'll get through the whole week. So the 28th, making sure week. So this is my topic. And then under the topic, we're going to create we're going to create an assignment. So each week will be a topic is going to be your week, your dates. And then let's say there's an assignment for August 24th. We'll do Meet the Teacher. And it'll be, maybe I'm just going to pretend, and I'm going to make a video. So watch video, and if I can spell anyway, and respond. And text assignment. Okay. Again, I do ungraded. That's me. And it's going into this coursework. And here, if you want to put it in other classes, you could go ahead and click through the classes you want to attach to. You might want to do a meet and greet or something like that the very first day. So you could easily just go ahead and put this all right here. It shows up in other classes. And then a due date. I am making mine due by the end of the week. So I'm going to put it on the 28th. And then by 8 o'clock or noon or 3 o'clock or whatever you want. It does check for plagiarism. Google does do that now. That's really nice. I'm not going to do that because it's just going to be, hey, I'm your teacher and you tell me about you or something, for instance, just making this up again. But and then, to all students, but if you had special needs or something like that where they might not be able to type or something, then you could select the ones to do this assignment and then take off the ones that need maybe a modified version of it. So I would add my video here. If I had pre-recorded a video, I would attach it, and you can do a YouTube video. It can be a file on your computer, so such as even if you type something in PDF or something you write out and hand write it, scan it in, you can attach it here. There's a link to any website, and then if you save it in your Google Drive, you could put it here as well. So you attach it, it shows up on the bottom. And I'll pretend to make a file, which I don't have one, but I'll just pull something in from somewhere, who knows what kind of file, but like here's 8th grade list. Sure, insert that. We're going to pretend that's it. This is my enrichment class that I taught last year, and this is just my list, but say this was for an example only, but a document about me that I typed out. My name is Heather Fulmer. I teach high school. I've been teaching for almost 13 years. I have 2 kids, a dog named Peanut and a dog named Cookie. And what else you wanted to put. And when you do that for an assignment, the student right here, before you assign it, can view the file. You can, students are able to edit the file. Probably not a good idea. And then you want to make a copy for each student. You always want to do this for an assignment because this will open a brand new document for each individual student to type on or to make and then turn in if you share a document that's yours. That way they don't mess up your document. So always make sure you make a copy for the student. And when they turn it in, you'll get whatever you sent out with their response on the bottom of it or a new document, depending on what it is. But that way they don't mess up your stuff. And if you don't do this and they kick it back and they can't access your file, you're going to get thousands of emails of, I need to request access for, whatever the document, 8th grade enrichment document. So you have to go through and approve all of them. It's a big mess and headache. I just delete it and start over if that happens, just to be honest. So anyway, so it's ungraded. If you want to check for plagiarism, if it's something like that, you can schedule it, you can save it, you can discard it, you can assign it. So I'm going to say this one class I want to assign. It will assign it, and I'll show you the student version after we get done with this video. So also on the student version, I'll show you where you can connect to their calendar and stuff. But your settings right here is going to have all kind of your just teacher settings to it, which is what we talked about earlier. There is a link if you want to set up a meeting, kind of like Zoom meetings. They have classroom meets, and you can make it visible to students. After you get your link, you can save it and put it on at a later time. But if that's the case, you would create maybe just material and put it as the link there and not an actual assignment unless you need them to turn something in. So here's my Meet the Teacher assignment. for August 24th. What we're going to do here is to drag and drop each assignment under that week that it's due. And so that's why I put it August 24th on the 1st. That's going to be my first day. If you want to put your syllabus, if you want to put instructions to Google Classroom, your phone number, your email, maybe not your personal phone number, but the school phone number, however you want to do it, you would put that first here. And so you would just have a list coming all the way down of whatever the assignments were. And so it also kind of helps the students categorize and, just keep up with it and organize better whenever we're organized on our end too. So I don't have any people, but if you were to add students, you would come here, type in the student email address. So like I said, I'm going to use my little girl. Her name is Tinley. I'm going to invite her, and then on the student side, I'm going to show you what that looks like after you send it out, what the students will actually see. Whenever Tinley creates and turns in a document, we will see her underneath the grades, which there's nothing here right now because she hasn't done anything yet. So that is how we're setting it up. But on our school district anyway, all of our weeks should be listed all the way here through the school year, and then we're going to get everything set up. You can drag and drop and rearrange the weeks as you create them. Note to self that I learned the hard way is when you do create them, it starts to stack them up kind of like a cheeseburger. And so you have to move each date down underneath the next one. So if you start from the end of the school year and work your way up, it'll actually put them in order on this screen right here, if that makes sense. So do that, because I did not. And then I had to go back, and each week I had to drag and drop it and move it down. Okay, so that's the end of this video. I hope it helped, and I hope that at least gets you started and organized on here. And for anybody outside the school district, very welcome to use this, share it. I do not mind, and I'll have more videos coming up of this. This is just kind of how we're doing it, so at least our district-wide is organized. So we have, it's pretty, I like to use the word pretty, it's pretty across the board. It's all organized and it looks the same, so parents aren't trying to guess what kindergarten, 3rd grade, 5th grade, 8th grade, 12th grade are doing. It all looks the same, which was one of our problems last time, is we weren't quite prepared enough whenever we left over spring break and we didn't come back. We didn't have time to prepare, make it all organized and nice and pretty. So now we do, and this is what we're doing. All right, thank you. Bye.